and a few senators. They are now attempting to bribe the police to arrest them to get public sympathy. Mwingine hata anajipeleka kwa gate ya polisi, nimeitwa na hakuna mtu amemuita, ati generate public sympathy. All these things ni vitu ambazo hazitusaidii. As leaders, we should be at the forefront of focusing on issues that affect our people, not inciting our own people.
Ruto faces criticism over state-sanctioned abductions. The abduction of a popular Kenyan blogger on Tuesday after 7 Turkish asylum seekers faced a similar ordeal 4 days earlier has triggered condemnation from the UN and global human rights groups. Cases of abductions and enforced disappearances in Kenya, which have been linked to state security agents, have been on the rise in recent days.
Being taken all over and we don't know where they are, who is taking them. We cannot say we don't know. We are government. We are government. We are government. I mean, I'm actually surprised. I'm told most of the administrators have skipped, but never mind. Never live by fear. Never live by fear.
In contrast to the promise President William Ruto made when he took office, the latest incident is the disappearance of political blogger Francis Gaitho, known for criticizing Ruto's policies. On Tuesday night, dozens of masked individuals believed to be security officers seized the blogger from his home in Nairobi. 10 police surrounding my house in Westlands. Alert everyone, Gaitho said on X shortly before he was taken.
We stated this time and time again in the lead up to the last general election. Today, there has been a number of abductions and in some cases unexplained deaths since the Gen Z revolts of June last year. And it is unfortunate as most of the people being abducted and or killed are our youth, leaving the parents, relatives and friends, other family members in a state of confusion and loss. I have personally served as my son was abducted and disappeared, and I was not sure whether he was alive or dead, making us anxious and leaving me and my wife and the rest of the family in turmoil. It must be remembered that at that time, I was the serving Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and as is well known, a member of the National Security Council as comprised under Article 240 of the Constitution. Despite making several requests, I was unable to trace my son, and I made demands to all the levels of the security apparatus of the country. Now, more than 6 months later, after that ordeal and the release of my son by unknown forces, he has not been charged with any offense, and the government at all levels has not been able to give me any explanation or reasons as to his abduction by hooded armed gangsters. Ladies and gentlemen, I have taken this unusual, The security sector has said that they are not involved in the abductions, but interestingly, they have failed to stop them as they are happening in full public glare. The president has equally said that he would want to see the abductions end. Kenyans want to know how many of our youths have been taken in since the abduction started, how many have been released, how many are still being held, and where it is that they are being held.
Kuona dhambi ikiruvuka inaenda mwaka mpya, bado vijana wetu wote wawe salama. Nimemwambia rafiki yangu huyu Ruto, ile mambo ya vijana kushika hovyo na kupigwa pingo na kuweka mahali na kuteswa ikome kabisa. Isiendelee wale ambao wanafanya mambo kama haya washikwe, wanaswe na wawekwe ndani.
Nataka niulize wazazi, kila mzazi tafadhali, hawa watoto ni baraka kwetu, tumepatiwa na Mwenyezi Mungu. Kila mzazi achunge watoto wake, tuweke kushughulikia watoto wetu. Sisi kama serikali tutafanya sehemu yetu, na yale yamesemekana mambo ya abduction tutakomesha, ndio vijana wa Kenya waweze kuishi kwa amani, na vile vile wawe na nidhamu na wawe wangwana, tuweze kujenga Kenya tukiwa pamoja.
Let us take you to court so that judge can tell the country it's okay to take pictures of judges, of church leaders, of political leaders, of children, and put them in coffin and circulate, and that is a country that we will have of that kind of disorder. But from the side of executive and from the side of law and order, we'll take our side. Let the judiciary determine whether they want a country that is full of disorder.
You must respect the independence of the police the same way you want the independence of the judiciary to be respected. I don't think it is in the interest of the country to continue to humiliate our security officers, yet we know they work in very difficult circumstances.
But we want also to ask our parents to bring up their children in a very good family moral values, that we use the social media, we use the internet with a lot of responsibility.
CS Duale further said the Kenya Kwanza government will not tolerate extrajudicial killings amid increasing cases of abductions and forced disappearances.
An end to extrajudicial killing was part of the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, and is one of the things that President William Ruto cherished, and he believes that there should be nobody who dies through extrajudicial killing.
CCTV footage shows masked men bundling him into the boot of a black car, then driving away. His whereabouts remain unknown amid increasing demands for his release, including a social media campaign under the hashtag #JockFreeGaytho. This is the second time in 3 months that the blogger has been seized. In July, a journalist, Macharia Gaitho, was abducted outside a police station in a case of mistaken identity involving the blogger. The journalist was released moments later with police saying they had arrested the wrong Gaitho.
Kwa sababu Father Patrick, saa ile viongozi wanasimama kusema ati vijana wetu ndio wanajiteka nyara. Sasa mili imepatikana 3. Sasa wewe ulisema vijana wanajiteka nyara, unataka kutuambia ya kwamba hao vijana wamejiteka nyara, wamejiua na wamejituma kwa mtaro? Ni makosa sana kubeba Wakenya kama ni wajinga. Hiyo maneno ya hao watoto wanatekwa nyara ni mambo ambaye ni mbaya sana, na ni mzuri tukubalie Wakenya nafasi waongee. Hata father amesema amesikiza ground, father mwenyewe, na mambo si mzuri. Sasa huyu father amesema mambo si mzuri, mtateka nyara? Sasa si ni ukweli? Na ndio mimi tulikosana na hii watu kwa sababu kijademu ile. Sisi tulifika pale sasa mwaka wa kwanza nikafikiria tunaongea mambo ya ukweli. Nikaanza kuona ni udanganyifu. Tunakuja Ruringo tunasema tutamaliza stadium. Sasa ni mwaka 2 hakuna. Barabara hakuna, maji hakuna, hospitali hakuna, dawa. Kazi yetu ni kudanganya Wakenya kila siku. Mimi nikawaambia mkubwa wangu, hii maneno ya kudanganya Wakenya si mzuri, tuache. Tuongee ukweli ile inawezekana. Ndio wakaanza kunisukuma kwa sababu ya kusema ukweli. Father, we want to encourage you and the Catholic Church and thank our bishops for speaking for the people of Kenya. Because when everybody has been silenced, the church is the voice of the nation, is the conscience of the nation. And we want to encourage you, the Catholic Church, to continue speaking. And the issue the governor has raised, tungetaka kuuliza kanisa yetu ya Catholic and other churches to speak out. History is repeating itself.
They later arrested the blogger and presented him in court the next day, where he was charged with publication of false information. On 20th October, a mutilated corpse was discovered in Lake Yahud in northeastern Kenya. Initially, it was suspected that the body was that of Yusuf Hussein Ahmed, a politician from Wajir County, who has been missing since 13th September after he was abducted by unknown people in Nairobi. However, on Thursday, 2 independent DNA tests confirmed that the body was not that of the missing politician. His whereabouts remain unknown.
We are just Kenyans united to resist oppression. And we are saying enough is enough. Stop the killings, abductions, and torture of innocent Kenyans. We condemn in the strongest terms possible this morning's abduction of renowned human rights defender Boniface Mwangi from his Lukenya home, Machakos County, a man who has courageously dedicated his life to defending the rights and freedoms of all Kenyans. Accounts from his wife indicate he was abducted in the presence of his children early today by some men and a woman believed to be police officers, and we now know they were, and they were not in uniform. They did not identify themselves. They did not say why they were taking him away or where they were taking him to. We actually now know they took him to Kamukunji police station, but that does not excuse that behavior of going commando style like thugs, abducting people without identification and without giving reasons as demanded by the Constitution. These kidnappings, disappearances, and extrajudicial killings targeted on our youth mainly is now a signature modus operandi of the Ruto regime. These abductions and killings of youth is now a worrying trend, and we demand that it stops forthwith. It has now become the signature modus operandi since the Genz protests. It has resulted in lengthy illegal detentions, like in the case of Bob Jage, Aslam, and Jamil Langton. And in some cases, it does not end up with long detention. It ends up with extrajudicial killing. You remember the young university student, Denzel Omondi, who was kidnapped during the Genz protests and surfaced in a quarry dead. You will recall that only 2 days ago, the burial of John Jogona Kuria of Kapenguria, who was abducted, and within a week his body surfaces. So this is the signature way in which Ruto is operating. We have credible sources who have indicated that there is a special abduction stroke killer squad which is comprised of both police and army officers. And this squad, we are told reliably, is based somewhere in Karen, near the DP's residence, and another wing of it is based in Orepolos, in Kajiado. These people also are joined, and mainly this squad is drawn from Dr. Ruto's ethnic community. We are not saying it's all members of the community, but this squad is made up of people he has picked from his community. They are also joined, we are reliably told, by foreigners, fellow East Africans from Burundi, from DRC, and from Uganda, and God knows where else. A regime that finds it necessary to create a squad outside of official channels to abduct, murder, and terrorize citizens is a regime that has lost legitimacy and that should be forced out of power. This targeting of activists, journalists, and youth is a direct assault on our constitutions, on the right to life, principles of equality, justice, and freedom. Kenya must not be a place where families live in fear that their loved ones may be taken in the night or any time of the day, never to return. The right to life and liberty, as I've said, enshrined in our constitution, must be upheld not selectively, not conditionally, but absolutely.
Faith Odhiambo, the president of the Law Society of Kenya, said, "We call for urgent investigations aimed at apprehending and prosecuting all those involved in this heinous crime. Majority of Kenyans are traumatized by these abductions. It's an embarrassment to President Ruto and
mambo ya watu kuwekwa kwa jeneza na mambo ya misuse of computers and cyber crimes. Yangu itakuwa ni kuchallenge DCI. Kama iko watu wamefanya makosa ya misuse of computers and cyber crime, arrest them and make it public that you have arrested people and take them before courts of law so that it becomes a deterrent to those who are misusing computers, artificial intelligence, not only to insult and to do very uncouth things, very uncivilized things. Na niwaulize pia vijana wetu, tukue na heshima. Hata kama huniheshimu mimi kama kiongozi, heshimu familia, heshimu watu na jamii ambazo hao viongozi wanatoka kwake. Leo tunaweza sema humpendi Speaker Wetangula, lakini kumbuka ako na mzazi na ni mtoto wa mzazi. Ako na watoto, ni baba ya watoto. And the same respect we expect as Kenyans. Let us extend the same level of respect to each other, to our leaders, both in the political arena, in church, because I've seen the same insults being leveled against even our church leaders. But to DCI, you must make use of the laws that we created and we enacted in Parliament back in 2018, specifically the Computer Misuse and Cyber Crimes Act of 2018. I know it had challenges in court in 2019, but the same courts reaffirmed that law. And all the provisions of that law, if the DCI are not aware and if the police are not aware, are fully enforced.